Beautiful Saturday here in Guthrie, Oklahoma. I'm Hayley Novak, joined by John Dowdy here in the Champion Circle, presented to you by Las Tunas Performance Horses. This Saturday kicks off the Hui Junior Championship open roping, as well as the 15 and the Calcutta at the end of the day. John, we have a lot on the agenda, but what a way to get today kicked off, because you yourself have quite a few Equinety steers
Yes.
out today. I want to know, what's the purpose behind that?
Well, we learned years ago that if we could get our Equinety product into the hands of people, the odds of them staying with it over the long term it's a very high percentage. So we kind of started this a few years ago, and I was talking with Darren and Corky, and I said, hey, what kind of fun thing could we do to get more product into the hands of people? And Darren's like, well, how about we do Equinety steers? I'm like, okay, well, let's do that.
Yeah.
And so they're running them. So they pick a random steer. Every 50 runs, they'll pick somebody. And so it adds a little bit more fun. And so we're giving away a lot of Equinety here.
You certainly are, and I agree. If the person doesn't win any money in the round, at least they get Equinety to take home. And what I find really interesting is that the beginning of the day at the Charlie One Horse All Girl, Megan Gunter, she won the All Girl team roping, and she said, "You guys can take all this stuff, but I'm keeping the Equinety." Right. What did you think about that?
Yeah, that was pretty neat. Because when we take pictures with the winners, I always ask if they're using Equinety, and very few are not using it. And but yeah, she said she goes, yeah, you can have all this other stuff, just don't take my Equinety.
That's really a cool thing to hear. And as we get ready to kick off this junior open roping, these cowboys are so professional at such a young age. What are you looking for as a brand whenever you're watching these athletes?
It's not much different than when we started along with the pros about 6 years ago. First and foremost, we want them to believe in our product. And so, that makes it a lot easier if they're already using the product. Obviously, they love it. But, just good character and someone that can represent themselves well and are well respected and represent the brand.
We talked to Tyler Pearson's wife yesterday, and that's what she said, is character means so much. Whether it's her husband that's competing at the finals or her son that's competing here at the Lazy E, character is what takes that extra step. So I'm really glad for you to say that, to really emphasize that.
Yes, yeah. No, it's important how you handle yourself, not only inside the arena but outside, and people want to be around people that are nice and kind, and treat people with respect.
Mm-hmm. So today we're finishing off the day with a Calcutta inside the Equinety Center.
Yes.
Let's talk about that, John.
It's a funny story. So last year here at the BFI, they had planned on building this new 60,000 square foot building, and so the pad had been poured for quite a while, and the building had been sitting in the parking lot for quite a while. And, they're trying to get permits and all the different things that come along with construction. And there's an event that we sponsor here in May called The Gathering. Mm-hmm. And so Dan Wall and I were in the back pasture, sitting in the golf cart, just talking and watching horses. And so I just turned to him and said, hey, how's that Equinety Center coming? And he looks at me and goes, what'd you say? And I said, the Equinety Center, how's that coming? And he starts laughing. He goes, look, Mr. McKinney doesn't tattoo his buildings with other companies' names, if you'll notice here on the grounds. So I said, okay. So I get back home, and about a month later I had to call Dan for something, and so he answers, and he goes, hey, bud, what's going on? I said, hey, how's that Equinety Center coming? And he starts laughing. He goes, funny you mentioned that. He goes, I was on a conference call this morning with Mr. McKinney and Monty over at the ranch, and he goes, I threw it out there just to see what kind of reaction I'd get. And Mr. McKinney goes, the Equinety Center. He goes, I'm not really known for tattooing my buildings with other companies' names, but I love that product. So that's how it all came to be.
What I've learned here, John, in just our few short minutes, is that be a nice person and put yourself out there, and the world will kind of come to you once you take it.
Yeah, you know what? Being personable with people and going to as many events. I don't get out to as many events as I can. Mm-hmm. Golf seems to get in the way sometimes.
Hey, I don't blame you. I do not blame you one bit.
Yeah, but just looking people in the eyes, shaking hands, and talking and asking questions is a great way. If you're a little intimidated to talk to people, asking questions is a great way to get conversations going. Because, human nature, people like to talk. And so if you can ask them questions and get them to talking, it kind of eases the the tension, I guess, if you're a little
For sure.
intimidated. So,
For sure.
it's a trick I've used many years.
Well, it's worked out very well for you, John Dowdy with Equinety. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
me here in the Champion Circle. We're going to be bringing all the champions right back here. We're kicking things off for the Huey Junior Championship Open Roping today here at the BFI.